Hi, Alan Stratton here from CostMatters.com. Next to PowerPoint slides, Flipcharts seem to be in every business meeting. Sometimes they are simply a presentation tool. But when the purpose of the meeting is to create and organize ideas, the Flipcharts fall short. Storyboarding, a method borrowed from Walt Disney, can do much better. Let me share a couple of experiences to illustrate this. When I was first getting started in activity-based costing, the recommended method for data collection was to interview various managers. But I learned that a friend at nearby Surgicos in Arlington, Texas, was using a different method he called storyboarding. I went to visit him and was impressed with what I saw. Now, he was focused more on quality improvement than on costing. He used groups of employees to analyze their own work. But what impressed me the most was their use of 3x5 cards to collect, organize, and evaluate information. The process was very visual, very quick, and very understandable. Now, my work with activity-based costing needed more cost information and cost measurements than what he was using. My friend recommended a firm that trained people in a storyboarding process. Now, I managed to go for training at the McNillis Company. Theirs was a generalized process to brainstorm, evaluate alternatives, and to organize results. Now, I really wanted to combine what I learned about storyboarding with activity-based costing methods. And during my training at the McNillis Company, I created a process to apply storyboarding to activity-based costing. Shortly afterwards, my company launched our second activity-based costing implementation project. We were following our consultant's project plan. Now, this plan was based on manager interviews. I couldn't quite change it very quickly. However, during our kickoff meeting, I mentioned storyboarding and how I thought it could be applied eventually to activity-based costing. But then we proceeded with our previously scheduled interviews and interview technique. But the most amazing thing happened. My associate and I had an interview scheduled with a manager. Unbeknownst to us, he invited a couple of his assistants to our interview. One of them had heard me talk about storyboarding in the kickoff meeting and remembered it. He brought a bunch of small sticky notes to the meeting and asked, "Why not now?" The result was amazing. We used the desktop as our storyboard and the small sticky notes for all of our observations. We brainstormed about the activities by writing our thoughts on the small sticky notes. We moved them around to organize them, added captions, and added measurements, including cost and quality. When finished, we moved the sticky notes to pieces of paper, photocopied these for each of us. It was great. I was totally sold on the process. Storyboarding appeals to the visual side of our brains. It's actually visual, auditory, and tactile. Since most of us are actually more visually oriented, this multisensory approach helps keep everyone in the group focused and involved. Since we're involved in the process, we buy in and own the results. And with multiple people involved, the process encourages ideas that feed from each other. I call this spinning. Spinning is kind of like the political spin doctor, but in a very good way. When measuring and evaluating, having a group balances off and tempers any special interests and keeps everyone honest. Since that time, I have facilitated hundreds of employee groups through storyboarding processes. I've incorporated new ideas and techniques from others, especially the quality movement. We've evolved storyboarding from 3x5 cards stuck to special fabric-covered foam boards with very sharp thumbtacks and to sticky notes stuck to paper or plastic. Now, after all these groups, I'm absolutely convinced that storyboarding is a valuable tool both for activity-based costing and for other processes. I'll post more about storyboarding in future posts. Meanwhile, consider ditching the Flipcharts for the more productive storyboards. Now, Where have you perhaps used storyboarding or other visual processes? I'd like you to share your experiences. Here's to your business profitability. I am Alan Stratton from CostMatters.com. Thank you.